You're about to make a $2,000 mistake that could ruin your entire cruise vacation. That great deal cabin you're eyeing? It might be located in the worst possible spot on the ship. I've spent years analyzing cruise ship layouts and talking to crew members, and what I've learned will shock you. Some cabin locations are so bad that experienced cruisers would rather pay double to avoid them. In the next 9 minutes, I'm exposing 9 cabin locations that cruise lines hope you'll book so they can fill their worst rooms while you suffer through sleepless nights, constant noise, and motion sickness. If you're planning a cruise, this could save your entire vacation. This is the #1 worst cabin location on any cruise ship, and here's why it'll destroy your sleep. The nightmare scenario: pool deck furniture gets dragged around starting at 5 a.m. when crew sets up for the day. Those heavy lounge chairs scraping across the deck sound like construction work happening directly above your head. A former deck supervisor revealed, "We had to start pool setup at 5 a.m. every day. Passengers in cabins below would call constantly to complain about the noise, but we had no choice. It was our schedule." What makes it worse, pool decks also host late-night parties, live music until midnight, and early morning fitness classes. You're getting noise from 5 a.m. to midnight every single day. Real example: the Peterson family booked cabin 7184 on deck 7 directly below the main pool. They got zero sleep for the first 3 nights and had to spend $200 to change cabins mid-cruise. Here's how to avoid this disaster. Never book cabins directly below pool areas, sun decks, or outdoor gathering spaces. Check the deck plan and identify what's above your potential cabin before booking. Pro tip: if you're already stuck with this location, bring heavy-duty earplugs and a white noise app. Request a cabin change immediately. Sometimes they'll move you for free if you complain early enough. Think the nightclub closes early because families are on board. Think again. Most cruise ship nightclubs pump music until 3 a.m., and the bass will vibrate through your walls. The sound problem: it's not just the music, it's hundreds of people talking, laughing, and walking past your cabin door until the early hours. Real horror story: Jennifer booked a balcony cabin next to the nightclub thinking she'd save money. She spent 3 nights in the lobby trying to sleep because the bass was so loud it shook her bed. A former entertainment staff member told me, "We'd see the same passengers in the lobby every night around 1 a.m. with pillows and blankets. They couldn't sleep in their cabins near the club." The hidden problem: even if you think you're a deep sleeper, the vibrations from club speakers can wake you up without you realizing why you feel tired the next day. Here's how to spot these cabins. Look for deck plans showing lounges, clubs, or entertainment venues. Avoid any cabin within 2 rooms of these areas. Smart alternative: book cabins on higher decks away from entertainment venues, or choose midship locations surrounded only by other passenger cabins. Elevators seem convenient until you realize they create 24-hour noise and constant foot traffic right outside your door. The convenience trap: that cabin next to the elevators seems perfect for easy access, but here's what you don't consider. Elevators run all night with mechanical noise, dings, and people talking loudly at all hours. What cruise lines don't tell you: elevator areas are high-traffic zones where people gather and wait, often talking loudly while you're trying to sleep. Real scenario: Mike thought he was being smart booking near elevators for his elderly parents. Instead, they dealt with constant door slamming, bell chimes, and groups of drunk passengers talking loudly at 2 a.m. A cabin steward explained, "Cabins near elevators have the highest complaint rates for noise. People don't think about elevator machinery and drunk passengers gathering there at night." The additional problem: elevators break down frequently on ships, leading to maintenance crews working at all hours with power tools and equipment. Better strategy: book cabins mid-hallway between elevator banks. You're close enough for convenience but far enough away to avoid constant noise and traffic. Restaurants might seem quiet, but the kitchen activity below them creates noise nightmares that most passengers never consider. The hidden chaos. Restaurant prep starts at 4 a.m. with industrial dishwashers, food prep equipment, and staff moving heavy containers and equipment. What you don't see, kitchen crews work 16-hour days, meaning noise starts before dawn and continues past midnight with cleaning and prep for the next day. A former cruise ship chef revealed, "Our prep work started at 4 a.m. and cleanup didn't finish until 1 a.m. We tried to be quiet, but moving hundreds of plates and industrial equipment is impossible to do silently." Real example, the Williams family booked a quiet interior cabin below the main dining room. They were woken up every morning at 4 a.m. by dishwashers and food prep and couldn't sleep until after midnight due to kitchen cleanup. The smell factor, cooking odors and grease ventilation can also affect cabins below restaurant areas, making your room smell like food constantly. How to avoid kitchen nightmares. Check deck plans for galley locations and avoid any cabin directly below or adjacent to food service areas. Forward cabins might have great views, but they come with motion problems that can ruin your entire cruise experience. The physics problem. The front of the ship experiences the most movement in rough seas. Every wave creates a lifting and dropping motion that's amplified at the bow. What cruise lines won't tell you, forward cabins are often discounted because experienced cruisers avoid them due to motion sickness issues. Real victim story. Sarah booked a forward balcony cabin for the views and spent 4 days seasick because the motion was so intense she couldn't leave her room. A veteran cruise ship captain explained, "The bow experiences 3 to 4 times more motion than midship cabins. We recommend against these cabins for first-time cruisers or anyone prone to motion sickness." The anchor noise. Forward cabins also deal with anchor chains and windlass equipment during port operations, creating loud mechanical noises early in the morning. Motion sickness reality. Even if you think you have strong sea legs, the extreme motion at the bow can affect your sleep quality and overall cruise enjoyment. Better choice. Book midship cabins between decks 4-7 for the most stable experience with minimal motion and noise. These cabins are usually the cheapest on the ship, and now you'll understand why that deal comes with a serious cost. The vibration nightmare. Ship engines run 24/7, creating constant vibration and low-frequency humming that you feel through your bed, walls and furniture. What they don't advertise. Engine vibrations can be so strong that items fall off shelves, hangers rattle in closets, and you feel like you're sleeping on a washing machine. A former engine room officer admitted, "Lower deck cabins near the engine room are almost uninhabitable due to noise and vibration. We'd never book our families in those locations." Real example, Tom booked the cheapest cabin available on deck 2 and couldn't sleep for 6 nights due to constant engine vibration. He said it felt like sleeping next to a freight train. The heat problem. Engine rooms generate massive heat, making nearby cabins uncomfortably warm even with air conditioning running constantly. Additional issues. These cabins often smell like fuel or oil, and you'll hear mechanical noises from pumps, generators, and other engine room equipment. How to identify engine room cabins. They're usually on the lowest passenger decks and priced significantly lower than similar cabins on higher decks. Laundry rooms run 24 hours a day and create constant noise from washers, dryers, and passengers coming and going at all hours. The noise cycle. Industrial washers and dryers run continuously, creating vibration and mechanical noise that carries through walls. The traffic problem. Passengers do laundry at weird hours. Some start at 6 a.m., others run loads at midnight, creating constant foot traffic and door slamming. A former housekeeping manager explained, "Laundry rooms never close and the machines are much louder than home washers and dryers." Passengers in nearby cabins complained constantly about the noise. Real scenario. The Johnson family's cabin was next to the laundry room. They dealt with washing machine vibrations, dryer buzzer alarms, and passengers talking loudly while waiting for their clothes. The humidity issue. Laundry rooms create excess humidity that can affect nearby cabins, making them feel stuffy and uncomfortable. Smart avoidance. Check deck plans for laundry room locations and book at least 3 cabins away from these areas. Connecting cabins seem perfect for families, but if you're traveling alone and book one side of a connecting cabin, you're gambling with your privacy and peace. The privacy nightmare. Connecting doors are often thin and don't block sound well. You'll hear everything happening in the adjacent cabin: conversations, TV, bathroom use, and arguments. What cruise lines don't mention: they can't guarantee the connecting cabin will remain empty, and they often sell both sides to different parties without warning either group. Real horror story. Lisa booked a solo cruise in a connecting cabin and ended up next to a family with 3 young children. She heard crying, yelling, and cartoons for 7 straight days through the connecting door. A former guest services agent revealed, "We'd get daily complaints from passengers in connecting cabins who didn't know they were booking them. The soundproofing between connecting rooms is minimal." The door lock concern. Some connecting doors don't lock properly from both sides, creating security concerns about unexpected access. How to avoid this: specifically request non-connecting cabins when booking solo, and verify with guest services that your cabin doesn't connect to another room. This might sound discriminatory, but if you don't need accessibility features, these cabins often come with unexpected problems. The space illusion. Accessible cabins are configured differently with wider doors, roll-in showers, and modified layouts that might not work well for standard travelers. What's different? Bathrooms often have roll-in showers without traditional shower doors, leading to water everywhere and poor drainage. Real experience. Mark booked an accessible cabin thinking he'd get more space. Instead, he dealt with a shower that flooded the bathroom floor every time he used it, and furniture arranged in ways that felt awkward. A former cabin steward noted, "Accessible cabins are designed for specific needs." Regular passengers often complain about the bathroom setup and furniture placement because it's not intuitive for standard use. The booking ethics. More importantly, booking these cabins when you don't need accessibility features takes them away from passengers who actually require them. The right approach: only book accessible cabins if you need the accessibility features. Otherwise, choose standard cabins designed for general passenger use. Now that you know what to avoid, here's how to find the ideal cabin location. The sweet spot formula: midship for stability. Decks 4-7 are ideal. Away from public areas and entertainment venues, surrounded by other passenger cabins only. Higher decks for less engine noise but not so high that you feel motion. Before you book, study the ship's deck plan carefully. Identify all public areas, restaurants, pools, and entertainment venues. Use online cabin reviews from sites like Cruise Critic. Call the cruise line and ask specific questions about nearby facilities. Red flag indicators: cabins priced significantly lower than similar ones. Locations near stairs, elevators, or public bathrooms. Rooms directly below or above marked public forward or aft cabins on higher decks. The research process: look up your specific cabin number on cruise review sites. Check YouTube for cabin walkthroughs of your exact room. Join Facebook groups for your specific sailing and ask about cabin locations. Read recent reviews, focusing on noise and location complaints. Investment mindset: spending an extra $200-400 for a better cabin location is worth it compared to a miserable week-long vacation in a terrible spot. Which cabin location mistake have you made or almost made?